Alright guys, I wanted to show you my newly installed billet aluminum R&D IDI performance fuel return rails. So many of you already know that these have just hit the market, the solid aluminum return rails, and it's what's replacing this plastic cap braided hose junk. And kind of my initial thoughts, I decided to do it on the factory turbo truck first because an injector cap broke, and I figured that was a good time to do the return rails on this thing. So Justin gives you a variety, the owner of R&D, Justin gives you a variety of brass fittings with the kit, little 45s and elbow 1/8 push locks. And how I kind of routed mine, I have blocked my return off my filter housing for better starts, and I had problems on my other truck with the facet pump and the check valve, so I just decided to plug that. The turbo side was a mother. In fact, I might have nicked an O-ring. I thought I saw a little seepage, minimal, but still, but my idle was good. But anyway, I didn't take off the injector lines. In future, I probably will if I have to do the turbo side, just because there's very little room to work with on this side. And I might have to take off my heat shield because, I mean, it is touching back there when you go to put it on. I think it still is touching a little bit now, even with it fully seated. But anyway, I took off my air box. I took loose this bracket arm on the filter housing bracket. I took my glow plug controller loose so I could swing around that, and I kind of had to very carefully slide that in and down, and then it seems like, you know, the rail has to go down perfectly straight on the top of all the injectors, so it can be quite challenging. I used a lot, and I mean a lot, of grease on everything. On the injectors, on the O-rings, on the rails. I heavily lubed everything, and you're going to need to make sure that you don't cut an O-ring, or at least try not to, because I might have even done it with a lot of grease. But this is my first time installing them. I just wanted to get the truck mobile without spewing diesel fuel everywhere because of a broken injector cap, and my mission was accomplished there. I am pretty happy with how it looks. It looks like a real return system on a truck. I got my crossover right in the middle here. I used one of my own fittings. I used a 90 there instead of the 45. I could have just moved that bracket there for my injector lines, but I decided to just run a 90 and run the push lock that way. So, and I didn't have enough hose, so but I always have the spare clear line. I just threw that on for my injection pump return to the front of the return rail. And trying to think of anything else I was mentioning. I plugged it at the front here, the very back. I only used 2 of my plugs that came in the kit. I think 3 plugs came in the kit. They're like 3/16 Allen plug, and I am happy. It's been a long time waiting for this to come, and for the naturally aspirated guys, I think you'll have a much easier time installing. But definitely give yourself plenty of space for those who have the factory ATS kits, because there's not a lot of room to work with there. And I also, a couple other tips I've just noticed right off the bat. These middle NPT taps are a little finicky, I guess, to get started. So be very careful you don't strip that out. And I suggest installing the crossover fittings for the middle after you get the rails on, unless you take the injector lines off. But I found it easier to install them after they were actually off. So I'm going to start the truck and just going to show you guys it running. Alright, let's see how she starts. She might have a little bit of air in the system, but I'll go with it. Now I wait till my glow plug controller kicks off here. But I got steady RPMs, a little fluctuation, which makes me think it might be a slight leak still. But for the most part, my RPMs are steady. Idle's nice and smooth. Well, I wanted to let her warm up a little bit, and idle is definitely staying steady. If I do have a slight leak, it's very minor. I'm not going to drive this truck very much throughout the winter, so if I have to zip off that rail later, I'll do so. It still is having the slight hesitation, so I'm not sure if that's the air intrusion or a separate issue, but she's running good. Throttle response is very, very nice, so without dragging this on too longer, there you go, guys.